Let's start the movie without delay. We all know that one or the other of us knows how to cook very well. But have you ever imagined that a small animal all can cook? This movie has given us the proof of the same thing. This movie was released in the year 2007. The story begins in Paris, where the best chef and best food has always been so popular. At the beginning of the story, we see a little rat named Remy who used to live with his big family. Remy never liked to eat bad food, and at the same time he was also likes to smell fresh food and all good things. He has a brother named Amiel. He also used to tell him that you should always eat good food and never steal food. Remy was a very big fan of a very famous chef whose name is Gusto. He has written a book named Anyone Can Cook. Remy was inspired by this book and wanted to do fusion in everything. That's why one day a piece of cheese and strawberry gets stuck in his hand. That's why he finds a place to do a barbecue. Along with this, he also wanted something spicy, and he starts searching, but after some time, the lady comes to know that rats are roaming inside her house, and she takes her gun and starts shooting at them. She shoots so much that her entire rooftop comes down, and when that rooftop comes down, she sees a whole family of rats there, and now all the rats run away from there to leave that place out of fear. The lady was still shooting at them, but Remy was left behind. All the rats go inside a sewerage. Remy also tries to follow them, but there was such a strong current of the water that Remy could not reach them. Remy waits them for a long time, but no one comes, and finally his imagination comes in front of him. Means Chef Gusto tells him that he should not stay here, but he should move on with his life. After that, he goes ahead and sees that he has reached Paris, that is, where the biggest restaurant of Chef Gusto is there. On the other hand, the scene of the kitchen of the restaurant is shown where a boy named Linguini has reached with some letters. The head chef of the restaurant, whose name is Skinner, does not select him for the job. But the others say that they need someone who can do everything here, so Skinner hires him, and at the same time Linguini drops a soup out of his hand, which he tries to make it again. But he was doing everything upside down. Remy was watching all these things from above the glass, and now he accidentally falls inside the same kitchen. Poor Remy tries to run away from there. Sometimes he comes under someone's feet, and sometimes he comes under the trolley. To save himself, he runs towards the window so that he can just get out of there. But he was also watching that Linguini was destroying the whole soup. Just then his imagination pops up and says that he can fix that, and Remy starts preparing the soup. He lowers the flame of the gas and then starts putting some good spices in it. After some time, the light gets on and Linguini realizes that all the spices have been put by a rat. The soup was going to be served to a customer very soon. Skinner was very angry at Linguini that how did he even touch this soup. Here, during their fight, that soup goes for serving to the customer. Everyone around feels that this has become a big problem, but at that time someone comes from outside that the customer is a critic and write reviews, and the review comes from the front that this soup was very tasty and nice. When everyone tests that soup, it is known that this soup is really made very well. No one could believe that Linguini has made such a good soup. Then Skinner tells him that it's okay, but you must recreate it next time, and at the same time Remy tries to get out of there. But everyone sees him. Linguini takes Remy with him in a glass container. Linguini knew that he was not the one who had made the soup, but the little mouse. He tries to talk to him, and Remy also starts giving him nodding answers from inside the bottle. Then Linguini learns that this rat can understand and hear my words. When he opens that glass container, Remy escapes from there and Linguini gets very upset. He thinks it is just a rat. This can never help me. But Remy came back, and now both comes to Linguini's house. The next morning, before Linguini got up, Remy had already prepared breakfast for him. Linguini takes poor Remy with him even before he finishes his breakfast. Now everyone here in the kitchen was reading the newspapers about how a critic had come there the day before, and they had done a soup test, and after that they gave a very good rating to the restaurant. Here Linguini was thinking how to hide Remy. He puts Remy in his jacket, but the tuning of both of them was not so good that both of them could work. Remy starts biting Linguini every now and then. Linguini tells Remy that they can't do things like that. At the same time, Skinner arrives there. Skinner felt that Linguini was talking to someone. Then Linguini tells Skinner that he was talking to himself and there is no one. Linguini hides and keeps Remy inside his cap. Linguini was almost about to bump into a waiter when Remy pulls his hair, which saves Remy from falling. And now both come to know that how they both had to set their tuning. Now Remy was sitting on top of Linguini's head and Linguini was blindfolded. Linguini was doing the same thing as Remy was giving him instructions. Slowly Linguini had become more perfect. Next day Linguini makes the same soup and keeps it ready, and now everyone was convinced that Linguini had prepared that soup. In that restaurant there was only one female chef whose name was Colette. Skinner tells Linguini to stay with Colette so that she could teach you more good things. One day Skinner was reading all his letters at his cabin, and then he gets the letter that Linguini had given him. Skinner almost went mad after seeing that letter because it was written in that letter that Linguini is Gusto's son. Now Skinner calls your lawyer and explains everything to him. Then that lawyer says that this may not be true, but it is necessary to prove it. Then the lawyer takes some Gusto's hair from there to do the DNA. In the kitchen, Colette teaches all the etiquette to Linguini. She tells that every person working in the restaurant has come from a different field. Some of them have spent time in jail, while some have come from the underworld. She says that they all follows Gusto because he said anyone can cook. In the restaurant, people started demanding for special items. That is, people now wanted some new dishes instead of old dishes. Now Skinner puts forward Linguini saying that he is very fond of fusion, now he will have to create something new. Colette and Linguini were trying to make something new, but at the same time Remy changes something inside that dish, he changes its sauce. When Colette was about to pour the sauce on the dish, Linguini pours the sauce that Remy had made on the dish with his hands, and the same sauce goes to the customer and gets served. Everyone starts doubting as to how it would have been made. But again, becomes a big miracle. Everyone starts liking that dish very much, and the demand for this special dish increases one after the other. Colette feels that Linguini doesn't need her anymore because Linguini has started cooking very well. Skinner was suspicious that Linguini could never cook so well, so one day he makes him sit in his office with him and makes him drink a lot of wine and asks, "How do you do all these things?" Linguini doesn't tell Skinner anything, and poor Linguini is punished by having to clean the entire kitchen. Here, when Remy comes out of the kitchen, he sees something, and that shadow belonged to none other than his brother Amiel. Both were very happy to meet each other. Amiel tells Remy that he should come back with us. Everyone waited a long time for you, and they all thought that they had lost him. Remy goes back to his family, where a party was held to welcome him. Remy's father explains to him that he should stay away from humans as much as possible. They are worse than what you think, so he refuses to accept that. He says that humans are not that bad. Then Remy's father takes him to a shop where a lot of pesticide were kept. And along with that, cages to catch rats and a lot of poison were also kept. Remy was very upset after seeing all these things, that maybe humans can be that bad. The next morning, when Remy reaches inside the kitchen, he sees that the kitchen is about to open soon, but Linguini was still sleeping there in a drunken state. And now Colette also arrives there. Remy tries very hard to wake up Linguini and hates her, but still Linguini has not regained consciousness. When he was not answering to Colette, he slaps the Linguini very hard. Linguini regains consciousness now. Colette tells him that he has become the favorite of Skinner, so why would he be talking with her? Linguini tries hard to explain, but Colette was very angry, but finally she understands, and they both leave from there. There, information comes to the biggest critic in Paris that Gusto's restaurant's rating have started rising again. The taste has come back there, and people have started liking the dishes there. The reason for Gusto's death was only on one and only one write-up of the critics named Ego, because the critics named Ego had written a very bad review. Gusto could not tolerate this pain, and due to this he died. Here Skinner learns through the lawyer that Linguini is his son after all. That is, the owner of this big restaurant is Linguini. Here Remy had started feeling very lonely because Linguini had not talked to him for a long time, and now Remy felt that Linguini was like other humans, and that is why he goes to the kitchen to get something to feed his family. But he didn't have the key. When he goes to Skinner's office to find the key, he finds that his will is kept inside the drawer, and when he reads inside the will, he finds that Linguini is his son and the real heir to this whole property. He picks up these documents of the property and starts running away from there. Skinner had come to know that his documents had been stolen. He runs after Remy for a long distance, but Skinner could not catch him. Linguini and Colette gets the document now, and Skinner is pushed out of the restaurant because he wanted to take the property of Gusto in his name. Linguini had become quite famous because now everyone had come to know that Gusto has a son as well. And between all these things of name, fame, and the interview comes Ego, the same critic who had written a review before. And now he goes to Linguini saying that he will come here again next evening and hope that you don't expect me. Here Linguini also starts shouting at Remy and tells him that he don't need him anymore, and he can go from there. Skinner sees this conversation and he is sure that a rat was behind all this. Remy feels so bad about this that now he brings his entire family to steal from inside the kitchen. But while stealing it, Linguini sees him and he chases away all the rats from there. Now the day had come that Ego was going to come back in the evening to review Gusto's restaurant. But Skinner does not allow all these things to be good. He catches and puts Remy inside a cage. Here the waiter now goes to Ego to take the order. Then Ego says that he wants something new which is not inside this book of yours. Here Remy was sitting inside the cage thinking that everything is over now. Nothing good can happen now. But then Remy's family comes there and saves him. Inside the kitchen, everyone starts asking Linguini that how did he make that soup and how did he make the other dishes. Everyone was forcing him as to how he did all these things. Ling wasn't a chef, so he didn't know the answer to anything, and just then Remy comes there to help him. Everyone was just about to reach Remy and kill him, just then Linguini comes forward and saves him. He tells everyone that behind all the dishes he made till date is the small rat. He says that they won't believe he only has prepared all the dishes. Everyone was very disappointed with Linguini, firstly because Linguini had lied that he knew how to cook, and secondly he had taken the help of a rat. Everyone leaves his restaurant and goes. Now neither there was any chef in the restaurant nor there was any waiter. Many guests were sitting inside the restaurant. Just then Remy's father comes there and says that maybe they all are not cook, but he can tell them how to cook food. And at the same time the inspector comes there. Remy tells them first they should catch him. Now all the rats clean themselves first. They take steam so that they get completely fresh, and now a waiter was needed here, so Linguini himself becomes a waiter. He starts taking everyone's orders, and now there was no chef inside the kitchen, but there were rats everywhere who were cooking. Colette arrives again to help Linguini and she sees that there are rats cooking everywhere. She goes to Remy and asks which dish he is going to feed Ego today. Then there he says Ratatouille. Remy finally prepares the dish, and it was the time to be served to Ego. As soon as Ego eats that dish, it is as if he goes back inside his old time because he belongs to a farmer family and this dish was a farmer dish. Ego was very much impressed after eating this dish, and now he wanted to meet the chef. Then Linguini tells him that if he want to meet chef, then he will have to wait till all guest leaves. After the entire restaurant is empty, Ego comes to meet the chef who had prepared the dish, who was a Remy. Next day a review comes in a paper inside which it was written that Gusto's words were true, that anyone can cook and he believes the best food is the one which he had yesterday. But after all this, the health inspector had sealed that restaurant, and along with it Ego also loses his job because he had written a review on a rat. But all is well that ends well. Linguini again opens a restaurant which was owned by none other than Remy. There, Remy himself was the chef, and Colette and Linguini also works there. Ego comes there most of the time, especially to eat Remy's special dish Ratatouille, and with his friends, This story ends here, so how did you all like it? So please tell us how you liked the explanation and do subscribe our channel until we meet you all in the next movie.